I took the Canon R6III and Sony A7V out with the same focal length and shot with them side by side to show you the differences. Both are good hybrid options and target a consumer, prosumer market of both hobbyists and working photographers. So that leads to the question of which one is better. In this video, I'm testing image quality, autofocus, low light, IBIS, and video to tell you some interesting things I found out. And thank you to Professional Photographers of America for sponsoring this video. I'll let you know more about them soon. I'm starting off on the Canon R6III here, and we're getting a kind of semi-backlit shot, but we are still in the shade quite a lot as well. The Canon R6III has a 32.5 megapixel sensor compared to the A7V, which is using a 33 megapixel partially stacked sensor. I'm a big fan of this resolution for portrait, wedding, and travel photography, as I find it gives you plenty of detail in your images and flexibility when it comes to cropping. And now I'm going to switch over to the Sony A7V, and I'm going to shoot with the exact same settings. Throughout this video, I'm showing you the JPEG straight out of camera, and I worked on the raw image for the edited version, which I used my Dulce Lightroom preset pack to edit. I'm showing you a 100% crop of the unedited JPEGs first, so you can see the true quality, and then I'll have a version of them side by side, which you can pause and take a better look at. Make sure you're watching this video in 4K so you can see all the details. And I'm using, surprise, surprise, the flagship 35mm lenses for both cameras. So this is the 35 f1.4 GM for Sony and the 35 f1.4L VCM for Canon. In terms of autofocus, the A7V has 94% coverage of phase detection AF and includes human, animal, insect, car, train, plane, and auto AF options. The R6III has nearly 100% coverage of phase detection AF due to the dual pixel sensor design and includes human, animals, vehicles, and auto options. While Sony offers more individual subject categories, both systems ultimately cover the same core subjects, with the main exception being insects. I actually like that the R6III groups things like cars, trains, and airplanes into the single vehicle option, as scrolling through lots of separate modes can feel a bit cumbersome, so just a minor complaint. Auto subject detection is an absolute must for me, so it's great to see that in both cameras. In stills mode, both the R6III and A7V are extremely reliable for portraits and weddings when it comes to autofocus. I had both cameras set up the same and allowed them to both do all the work out on location. I had an extremely high in-focus ratio for both cameras. A couple of things I did notice is that Sony has faster transition speeds with autofocus compared to Canon, which lags a little bit. When I hold my hand up to shield the camera, Canon doesn't want to switch subjects, even though I have the setting to get it to switch on. Both Canon and Sony are great at trickier human autofocus situations, like when someone is looking to the side. They will both still catch onto the iris, whereas some other cameras I've tried will struggle in this scenario. Okay, let's talk colors. I have to say, it was nice shooting on Canon again when I made my Canon R6III review late last year. Yeah, I feel like maybe leaning over would be nice. The light's really good here too. Maybe, wait, I'll try and get like a full body shot here. Do you wanna, if you twist a little bit more towards me? Yes, oh my gosh. That's so pretty. Canon has this iconic look to the images it produces that they've stuck to from their DSLR days, so it's nice to see it continued in their mirrorless cameras. I would say Canon colors lean a little warmer and pink compared to Sony colors straight out of camera that lean towards blues and greens, especially in the A7V sensor. In saying that, when you shoot RAW, I don't find the colors straight out of camera are a huge deal breaker anymore. All modern mirrorless cameras nowadays produce great files that are easy to edit and get looking exactly the way you want. Back when mirrorless was first getting popular, like A7 II days, the sensors were a bit more hit and miss with colors. Now, they are all pretty good, and we are splitting hairs at this point. The A7V offers 16 plus stops of dynamic range, which is one stop higher than the R6 Mark III. Before we get to shooting speeds, regardless of what camera you're using, it's super important to have gear insurance, which you can get through the sponsor of today's video, PPA, who are also known as the Professional Photographers of America. As a PPA member, you can enjoy not having to worry about gear damage or loss with up to $15,000 worth of equipment insurance, as well as access to data loss recovery. They also have resources to help you get started with your new or established photography business, like customizable contracts, pricing guides, portfolio reviews, marketing templates, legal resources, and heaps more. And you will also have access to events like Imaging USA to connect and learn from other photographers. So if you want to join PPA, make sure to use the link in my description to get a discount on your membership. With the electronic shutter, the R6III can shoot up to 40 FPS compared to the A7V's 30 FPS. And then can we do one if you like lean back on the table with your elbow? And I'm gonna try and shoot from here. That looks so nice too. I tested out the buffer with both cameras set to uncompressed RAW, and I was able to shoot around 110 images on Canon. Then I have to stop, wait a couple of seconds for it to offload, and I'm able to do that again and again. On Sony, I was able to shoot 40 RAWs at 30 FPS, so that's just over 1 second of shooting before the buffer fills up, and it caps me at around 9 FPS forever until I choose to stop. With the mechanical shutter, the R6III is 12 FPS and the A7V is 10 FPS. Again, testing the buffer with uncompressed RAWs, the Canon has an unlimited buffer. You can hold that shutter down forever. The Sony, I was able to shoot up to 180 RAWs before the buffer filled up. So in both cases, Canon has the overall burst and buffer advantage here. Both cameras feature pre-capture or pre-shooting, whatever you prefer to call it. The R6III gives you up to 20 frames before fully pressing the shutter. The A7V gives you up to 30 FPS while the shutter is half pressed. Something to keep in mind is Canon produces 12-bit RAW files when using it at 40 FPS or with pre-shooting, compared to Sony, which continues to produce 14-bit RAWs regardless of what mode you're using it in. Let's take a closer look at the build. The R6III weighs 699 grams and the A7V weighs 695 grams, so they are pretty much the same. One big difference is the physical screen. I do love how the Sony has a flip and tilt screen, while Canon sticks to a flip-only screen. For portrait and wedding photography, flip-out screens are honestly more of a nuisance for me and get in the way more than they help, so I usually end up not using them at all. In terms of the screen quality though, I find the R6III LCD is easier to see out on location. I'm not sure what it is from a technical standpoint, but to me it looks clearer. Both cameras have very similar EVFs, with both being capable of a 120Hz refresh rate. Both cameras have dual card slots. The R6III uses one CF Express Type B and one SD slot. The A7V has one Express Type A SD combination slot and one SD slot. This is like so perfect. I'm obsessed. I did ask for permission, by the way, because I wouldn't get all up in front of someone's yard like that without asking first, just so you know. I want to try and get like a backlit shot. If you wanted to come out here a little bit so you've got the sun behind you. With ports, both cameras have a mic and headphone jack as well as a full-size HDMI port. Sony has 2 USB-C ports and Canon has 1 USB-C port and 1 remote port. Using both cameras out on location, they are both relatively comfortable to hold. And if you can hear someone meowing in the background, that's Junie. I will say again, this is not technical at all, but Sony has like a sharper feel to the camera body, like the grip and the edges where your left hand is resting, compared to Canon, which feels a bit rounder in the hand. So if I had to choose, I would say the Canon feels a bit more comfortable, but this is going to be very personal to every photographer. And this is Junie, by the way. She really wanted to be in the video today. She's a rescue from the street. Oh. She's so small. Okay, you wanna go? Bye. We have a Junie in the background. So next, let's take a look at video. The A7V is able to shoot up to 4K UHD 60p full frame with no crop if you switch angle of priority on, as out of the box, it's actually off and causes a small crop to your footage. The A7V can also shoot in 4K 120p with an APS-C crop. On the other hand, the R6III is able to shoot in 4K, UHD and DCI up to 120p nearly full frame because it always has a small crop in every mode, including 30p. It's about a 6% crop and you can't turn it off. Where Canon really pulls ahead is with its additional video features. The R6III offers internal 7K RAW video, open gate recording up to 30p even in RAW, and 120p nearly full frame. Sony doesn't offer any equivalent modes here, so if video flexibility is a big priority for you, Canon definitely has the edge on paper. We'll get back to this in a moment. Rolling shutter numbers are fairly similar between the two. In 4K 25p, I measured around 14.6 milliseconds on the A7V and 14 on the R6III. In 4K 50p, I got a reading of around 14.5 on the A7V and 14.3 on the R6III. These numbers are close enough that honestly, what matters more is how the footage looks, and in most real-world scenarios, both cameras perform very similarly. Overheating, however, is where things really separate again. I've been testing all the cameras I review in extremely hot conditions with a minimum temperature of 32 Celsius, which is 90 Fahrenheit, and Canon unfortunately struggles a bit with heat management. Even in 4K 25p, I was only able to record 25 minutes before it shut down from overheating, compared to the Sony A7V, where in 4K 25p, I was able to record for over 90 minutes before I decided to call it a day. I got a heat warning at an hour, but it never switched off from overheating, so the A7V is the clear winner here. If you're considering either of these cameras for video production, I've put the link to my review videos in the description below, where you can see all the thermal, rolling shutter, and other test results, along with a lot more video examples. When capturing images, the A7V has up to 7.5 stops of IBIS, while the R6III has up to 8.5 stops. In video, both cameras feature even more digital stabilization modes at the expense of various crops to your footage. While mechanical IBIS alone provides pretty good results in both cameras, I find steady shot and active steady shot in the A7V produces much nicer results with less warping, especially with larger jolts compared to the R6III's digital IS and enhanced modes. I also find the R6III's digital IS enhanced mode causes digital motion blur, which alters the image quality too much for my liking. I have two low-light comparisons to show you. The first one is with noise reduction switched on, and the second is with it off. While they look quite similar to each other at first, I would say Canon handles ISO better than Sony. At ISO 1000 is where you can first start to notice the A7V has slightly more grain than the R6III. The Canon grain looks a bit finer compared to the A7V grain, which looks rougher. From around ISO 4000 onwards, the Sony files look a lot dirtier compared to the R6III, which remains quite clean. At ISO 10,000 is where you can also see the A7V noise is more colourful, which is distracting compared to the R6III noise, which stays black and white and is more pleasing to work with. So, which one should you choose? Look, for the most part, nowadays you can't really go wrong with any new camera that's released. There are just so many good options on the market, but there are a few things that I think would help you go one way or the other if you're stuck deciding. Photography-wise, both cameras produce stunning results. That's really easy to say, but the color science comes down to your personal preference, and hopefully seeing some of these side-by-side photos that I took today has helped you out with that. If you're someone who shoots in high-speed scenarios, the Canon has an advantage in frames per second and with buffer management. Not to mention, Express Type B cards are much faster to download. Build-wise, on the other hand, I prefer the A7V because of the flip and tilt screen, easily. I wonder if we could shoot with the dappled light here. Do you want to try standing up there? This spot looks so good. When it comes to video, if you're planning on using this camera for long recording times like wedding ceremonies, talking to camera, interviews, and things like that, and you work in hot climates, then Sony is the way to go, as they have really gotten their heat management under control with the A7V. However, if you're a videographer who is more into B-roll, so shooting shorter spurts of video, or you create content, then the R6III could be a better choice for you, as you do have more options when it comes to recording like 7K, OpenGate, and RAW video. Something I always say to someone who doesn't know which camera brand to go for is to look at what lenses are available for that mount. What is the first lens you want? What are all the lenses you want down the line? Do they exist for that brand? And are you happy with the price versus quality of that lens? That's really the most important thing you should be looking at if you're finding these specific features in either of these camera bodies aren't enough to sway you one way or the other. So let me know which one you think is better in the comments, the R6III or the A7V, and thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every single week. Please make sure to check out PPA using the link in my description, and I will see you all next time. Bye.